Good morning. We are thrilled to have a panel of esteemed guests today who will enlighten us about a project upcoming in the Chattahoochee Valley region and housing assessment. This video serves as a platform to engage student volunteers, interested staff, personal colleagues, professional colleagues who are interested in collaborating with us, the United Way, and economic development on this initiative. To kick off introductions, I am Dr. Lane Chadwick, Professor of Economics at Troy University. I've been here for 18 years, extremely passionate about providing my students with hands-on learning projects to actively engage them in the community and provide, hands-on analysis is the best way to learn, in my opinion. Joining me, our distinguished guest today, Ms. Pat Fry, Vice President of the United Way of the Chattahoochee Valley, Ms. Kathy Ninus, Director of the Office of Creative Economy at Troy University, and Mr. Alan Durham, the Center of Economic Development Research at Georgia Tech's Enterprise Innovation Institute. We're eager to delve more into the details about our project and warmly invite your participation. Stay tuned. I'll provide my contact info at the end of the seminar or this discussion, and reach out for any information, and we will make a difference together. I'm going to let our panelists say a little bit more about themselves, starting with you, Ms. Pat.
Hey, thank you. Thank you so much, Doc. Like I said, I'm Pat Frey with United Way of the Chattahoochee Valley. I head up the strategy called Home for Good, which deals with housing, homelessness, housing sustainability, and homelessness prevention. But in this area, it's looking at how we plan for our housing needs. We already know that we are woefully behind in our housing stock in all levels, whether it be affordable housing up to executive housing and everything in between. So looking at it from a holistic perspective, I'm really excited to have folks from outside the community to do the analysis of the data and to create the surveys and the questions so that we're looking at it from a global perspective and not just a Columbus-centric perspective, because we are doing a regional analysis. So really excited to participate and have had the opportunity to work with these wonderful folks, and looking forward to having more folks come on board and help us do an analysis of what we need in our community today and in the future. Thanks.
Thank you. Kathy.
I'm Kathy Ninus. I work with the Office of Creative Economy for Troy University at the Phoenix City campus. I've been with Troy for probably, 25 or so, counting years. And as like Pat, I'm thrilled to be working with this very talented group of people as we look at ways that this project could fold so nicely into our economic development initiatives on the Alabama side of the river. I know there are others looking at the Georgia side of the river. So hopefully this is going to be a fabulous tool. I know our economic development director is thrilled to have this to use as he moves forward with promoting economic development.
Thank you. Alan?
Hi, my name is Alan Durham. I am with Georgia Tech's Center for Economic Development Research based out of Atlanta. And we were first contacted by Pat at the United Way to look at regional housing issues in and around Columbus and Muskogee County. We're going to be looking at existing housing needs as well as future housing needs in case the area has big economic development wins. Columbus, Muskogee, and the rest of the region are working very hard to recruit some high-tech manufacturing, especially in the microchip industry. And when they came to us, they said, we know we're going to get big wins. There are going to be lots of new workers moving to the area, but we don't have enough housing for them. And this isn't just the Chattahoochee Valley regional problem. This is a nationwide problem. We're as many as 9 million housing units short in the United States. And of that, we're about 4 million housing units short that are considered affordable, which means you should be spending ideally no more than 30% of your pre-tax income on housing. And we all know that with inflation, rising interest rates, rising rental rates, housing is getting more and more expensive, which means people have less and less money to spend on necessities like food, gasoline for transportation, and 70% of our economy is based on consumer spending. So things are starting to slow down, and we really need to look at the housing availability and price points in the entire region to help better prepare for growth and the recruitment of new jobs.
Absolutely. So we're going to just kind of quiz Alan here. He's the professional and sort of leading this project. And again, as he stated, and the other panelists have stated, numerous universities are involved in this project. So anyone who has an interest across any university setting, whether that be a student, whether that be a professional staff, colleague, we would love to have your involvement. This is again, it's a nationwide issue. Your involvement in this project can, again, infiltrate any area in the United States that you choose maybe to move to or involved or from. So again, not closed to any student, it's open to anyone. Alan, a couple of questions here. Just won't keep individuals too long, but getting folks on board in regards to economic development, how individuals can get involved, and what does it actually mean? What is economic development, and how do students prepare for a career in this particular type of field, if that's their interest?
Well, traditionally, economic development is viewed as business recruitment, retention, and expansion to help create and retain jobs within a community. It also involves economic developers and chambers of commerce helping small businesses and entrepreneurs grow their business. It involves real estate development and redevelopment, helping to eliminate slum and blight conditions. Economic developers do a lot of work in developing the workforce. For example, upskilling existing workers or developing internship and study programs to create a pipeline from high schools directly into industries. We create strategic plans to help increase employment opportunities and workforce housing options. We work toward increasing and diversifying a community's tax base. And we also strive to improve a community's quality of life for everyone.
Fantastic. Can you give a brief overview of your current role with the Center of Economic Development Research at Georgia Tech?
Yeah, before coming to Georgia Tech, I had multiple jobs working as an economic developer for city and county governments. I've been with Georgia Tech over 7 years now. I'm a senior research faculty member at Georgia Tech's Enterprise Innovation Institute. We refer to that EI squared because we're Georgia Tech and we're nerds. So we have about 200 employees at EI squared. We're the largest economic development arm of any public university in the United States. We have programs specifically designed to help small business and entrepreneurs, minority business assistance. We have high-tech business incubator. We do OSHA safety and compliance. We work with industry in incorporating artificial intelligence into the manufacturing process. We also help small and mid-sized companies get federal government contracts. At the Center for Economic Development Research, my division, we're very data-driven. We look at hard numbers and not perceptions. And we're generally consultants that work directly with communities, not just Georgia Tech students. I'm the course director every year for a week-long basic economic development course that is offered specifically to economic development professionals. We do economic and fiscal impact studies, strategic planning for individual cities or counties and regions as a whole. We help communities come up with viable workforce development strategies. We help with disaster recovery and resilience, downtown development, neighborhood revitalization, and of course, with this project, workforce and affordable housing. So we do a little bit of everything.
Yes. What classes do you teach, Alan, there?
Uh, I guest teach on occasion in
Okay.
real estate and city and urban planning,
Okay.
but primarily my work is with professionals in the economic development industry that are working toward certification.
Okay. So what inspired your involvement in economic development?
When I was going through my bachelor's degree and master's degree, one of the things that really started my interest in this was the rise of Walmart and national chain retailers that killed locally owned mom and pop businesses and killed historic downtown areas. And I like to think of historic preservation and downtown development as an economic development tool. It attracts tourism to your community. It helps with placemaking and creating a unique sense of community. Downtowns provide a gathering place for residents to socialize and build community connections. And my interest is really finding a way to combat suburban sprawl and strip malls and lot by lot fast food restaurants. There are much more environmentally friendly ways for communities to develop in a manner that benefits everyone and not just automobile traffic. So we look at things like new urbanism, neo-traditional development patterns, neighborhood revitalization. Instead of building new suburbs, we want to improve the neighborhoods we already have. Getting rid of blight, slum and blight in your neighborhoods is important. And it's really important to start looking at ways we can build that provides an alternative to the car. So new developments need to be walkable, bikeable, and pedestrian friendly. So I got involved in economic development to help communities save their historic downtowns.
So can I wait? Are you a history major? History?
My bachelor's degree was in history, and my master's degree was historic preservation, both from the University of Georgia. So I am a double dog, even though Georgia Tech signs my paycheck.
Well, so my students are like, do you have to love economics to be interested in this? No. There's a lot of history, public administration, social sciences, arts. I mean, a lot of people have asked that question. So again, there's benefits for all students to be involved in this project. You don't have to love economics, even though we all should. There's a variety of things for all students in this particular housing project that I think you were going to speak on next as well.
Yeah, I think your students could really benefit from participating in this project because let's face it, in our society today, data is a huge asset. And if your students can conduct one-on-one interviews about housing, if they can do focus groups or help with the online survey that we're going to be doing and analyzing that data, that's going to give them real world experience in working with data, which is going to be great on their resume. As I mentioned before, I've worked a lot with city and county governments. This project could provide a way for your students to get their foot in the door. With that, planning and zoning administrators, economic developers, working with nonprofit organizations like the United Way of the Chattahoochee Valley. I think analyzing the data that is collected from these surveys is also going to yield some interesting results and findings that we might not be expecting right now. And whatever data comes out of this analysis, there's always an opportunity to delve even deeper into those questions so the students can find a way to specifically help their local communities with housing.
And if you have spoken with, have that exactly in mind, maybe they're not, economics isn't their strong suit, but they're like, I really want to give back to my local community. What are the insights that I can glean from this project? How can I do that? And can it be applied to other places I might move to and live? The transparency of this project is universal.
Yeah, absolutely. So anytime that we work with a community, doing community surveys and getting input from local area residents is always important. So what you're going to get out of working with this project is understanding how to organize these surveys, how to collect the data, how to interact with the public, which is very important to universities becoming more engaged in public discussion. And analyzing that data, is something that you can take to any community that you end up living in the future.
And again, why should individuals, irrespective of location, income, occupation, profession, be invested in economic development?
Well, economic development is mostly about job creation. And anytime you increase the number of employment opportunities within a community, that's going to directly build wealth for everyone at every income level. So the direct jobs that will be associated with a high-tech microchip manufacturer moving into the area, those new jobs are going to have an indirect job impact, meaning you're going to need more restaurants for all the new workers. You're going to need new retail service industries like barbershops, beauty salons. A variety of other sectors are going to grow in response to all the new workers that are moving into the area in order to fill these high-tech jobs that are coming. And something I always like to tell the communities that I work with, if your community is not growing, it's dying. So communities, especially now after COVID, when work from home has shown to be a permanent situation in a lot of areas, communities have to establish themselves as an exceptional community of choice. They need to revisit some of their community development. They need to work on improving their assets, making their downtown more vibrant and exciting and walkable. And these communities need to create a place where people want to live and businesses want to be. And 100% of the time, that's focusing on job creation. And of course, with new jobs come new rooftops. And that's what we're looking at with the regional housing study, is how many new rooftops are needed today and how many rooftops are going to be needed 20 years down the road.
Thank you. Again, anything else that you guys would like to add? This is just, again, a marketing video for students who have an interest, and we'll discuss more specifics on down the way. But I did have a question for Pat. If students have an interest in this project now, how can they continue to give back through the United Way and things in the area from a volunteer perspective?
Absolutely. And thank you for that. We always have volunteer opportunities for anyone in the community who wants to help out and give back. The United Way website has our United Way website has a volunteer tab where folks can, maybe this is not your thing, but you want to go and help resod the playground or help paint at Easter seals or whatever. There are opportunities on the website every day, and I can send you the link so that if you want to include it or send it out for the students or whomever, we'd be glad to have them.
Fantastic.
Thanks.
I'm going to share my contact information here in just a moment. If anything else you guys would like to add, if not, I thank you so much for your time. I greatly appreciate it. I am going to share. I'll share my, maybe, let's see. There's my contact information. Again, Lane Chadwick. There's my email. There's my cell phone. You can call, you can text, you can FaceTime. Whatever is your best mode of communication, perfectly fine. As I tell my students, there's that. And again, get in touch, and we look forward to working with you guys. Have a great day.
Thanks so much. Have a good weekend.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Let's see. We'll stop.